Hello everyone, welcome back to Agvis Africa. It's Dixon here again with you from 3DS Studio, and today we will continue our tutorials that we started I think 2 weeks ago, and we had a look at how our basic introduction to 3DSMAX. You can check my tutorials 3DSMAX and Corona Render Part 1 to see basic introduction, how to find your way in 3ds Max, and also the part 2 to show you how to set up your lighting using Corona Sun and also HDRI. This image here is with Corona HDRI. I'm going to change it quickly to Corona Sun, and we will have a look at how to kind of add some materials. So let's have a look. Don't forget to like the video, share and subscribe, and hit the notification button. So let's go again. I just want to do this quickly so that we can recap on the idea of the lighting. So if you go back to the create button and you see light, Corona Sun, and I'm just clicking on the top view and dragging, and then I leave the mouse button, and then I just kind of move my mouse. You can also see on the perspective view where the light is kind of setting. Okay, sometimes you would like to also have maybe like a front view or left view, for example, so that you can see as you're moving it. Okay, so I will click on my Corona Sun, go to the modify tab and say add Corona Sky to environment. And I do this because I want to change it from being a bitmap. Okay, so it's an image. You can see Corona bitmap. So I'll say yes, so that now I know that it is Corona Sun. Okay, so if I go there and I click on render, I can see it's Corona Sun, but I can see that the exposure is quite high. I'll reduce it to 0.5, say 0.6. I think 0.5 was fine. -5, I mean. Can leave this to the default, which was the white balance. Was that okay? And remember, you can always use the interactive render, and I just want to bring it a little bit down. Okay, okay, so we're going to press M for our material editor, and we'll pick any of these, the ones that have not been used. And then I'll click on the physical material and I'll say Corona physical material, and I'll just give it a name. So I'll call this, let's say for example, red wall. And I'm doing this because I want to show you how to just add a material and just a color material. So I'm just changing, I'm just giving it a name, and then here at the base layer at color, you just click by the color, and let's say we just change it to red. You can see immediately that ball, that material slot here is now red. If I click on the wall, and then you see this sign here that says assign material, if I click on it, now my wall is red. It's as simple as that. But now my wall is not showing because of the override. Because if I go to rendering setup, and under scene, we had override the material. So if I click there, if I uncheck there and I render, it will give me some errors. It's giving me these errors because all the materials that came from 3ds Max, from Revit, is not supported. But this is not a big deal. So let's close that. Let's cancel that. And then let's go to run corona converter. So you click run corona converter, you just click convert. To convert everything to corona material, which you can replace by assigning a material to it, but at least it will not give you an error. Okay, so let's convert that. It's busy converting. Okay, great. Our conversion is done, and you can see immediately we render now. It is not giving us any error. But remember, we're going to replace all this material, so don't worry about what we see now. Okay, great. So you can see that red material that we added is there. Okay, great. Okay, so that is basically a very simple way of adding a color to as a material. So let's go to physical material again, corona material, and they have added this preset. This is beautiful. They've added this preset that if, for example, you want to create glass, okay, you can just, under preset, you can just say glass. You already have glass there, and you can just click and assign. Okay, and you can just name it glass. Okay, let's click there. I think what these software developers are doing now is that they are basically allowing us to be designers than, software technicians. They basically allowing us to just focus on the design, on the, how you want things to look, rather than trying to figure out how to set things and settings and all those kind of stuff. Okay, which I think is quite nice. So yeah, brush aluminium. Okay, so do we have some aluminium that you want to add? You can select and add. You can test it out, or you can use the interactive. Okay, so you can see our kind of red color is reflecting on that aluminium. But yeah, let's just change that. Okay, I'm going to create my own kind of gray material for the frames. Also, like when you're not too close to an object, you want to reduce the reflectivity and all those things, because it really consumes the rendering time. Okay, so I'm gonna go to another material, physical material. Okay, and then there, so I'm going to give it a name. Let's say brick. And this time around, what I'm going to do is that I am going to show you how to add your own materials. So I'm going to add a brick material. So I'm going to go to base. You can see base color, and I'll click on where it says no map. So corona bitmap. Okay. And then this time around, I am going to look for some materials that I have. Some PBR materials, and I pick a brick. Let's pick a different brick. So brick color, so I'll pick the color. Open. Okay. And then if I click on this button here that says go to parent, it takes me back to like this side here, where you have the map options. and then I'll add the roughness on a bitmap. I'll add the roughness. I go back. And then I'll add some displacement. Work again. So for the displacement, okay. Okay, let's add that to this. Okay, and you can see that we actually cannot really see the texture of the material. Is because we need to add a UV map to this wall. So if I click on it and I go to the modify tab, I can basically click on the modify list and just press U on my keyboard to look for UV map. So you can see now it's beginning to kind of pick how the texture is applied to the wall. So I'll click on a box and I'll say I'll start to reduce this. So normally I would like to go close to it to see the scale properly. There you can see the scale. Okay. And the same way you can add some kind of brick materials or any materials that you need in there. And also let me show you another way of adding your materials. So if I go to this tab, which is Corona Material Library, I can go to stones, and here you can see I also have different type of bricks there that I can add. So let's add like some stones there. Right click, there you assign. Very simple. Okay. Let's add some concrete on the floor. Sign, we've got that. So this material and this material is the same, so it picked it the same thing. Okay. Okay, these are like solar panel stuff. I'm just going to apply some aluminum to it. Always make sure that your model like is really detailed in terms of the materials, because you don't want to be assigning a material and then it's applying to something else that you don't want. Okay. Okay. Okay, we could actually add also some concrete here. It becomes almost like some concrete. Close this. You can see our render is coming out quite nice. Okay, so one thing that we also need to kind of see is that if you go to rendering setup and we go to common, we can change the output. So at the moment our output is like an HD TV. We can change it to we can say custom. Okay, and we can decide how we want to set it up. And you can see nothing changes here, but if I go to if I click on the Corona camera and I say show save frame, it means that this is the size. This is the size that we are working with. Okay, so you can see if I change this size here, if I change this size here, you can see that it changes. Okay, show save frame basically show you which frame is going to be rendered. Okay, you can see the Corona render is quite fast also in terms of how long it takes for it to preview or for you to begin to see the image that you are rendering. Moves quite fast. Okay, so let's add some material there. Roofing. Okay, there. And again, you can add a UV map there. Okay, and I just made it a real world map scale, and it kind of takes the angle, the plane directions. Okay, then in terms of kind of artificial lighting, let's see what we have in Corona. Okay, so we can basically just go to create Corona light, and then we say rectangle. Okay, and then I'm going to just draw like a rectangle this way and just move it into the fittings. So you can see here that there's this direction, so this means that the light will be shining downwards. Okay, so I'm just going to position it here. And I think one thing that is quite important is that to be able to see the light that you are bringing in, it is always important to disable the primary light, which is like your primary source of light. So I'll go to the modify tab and I'll switch it off. Okay, and this is because I want to see the light that I'm getting in here. In terms of the artificial light, I think it's important to see the light without the primary light. Okay, so at the moment we're not seeing it that much. I'm going to go to top view. I'll select the light, and then I will increase the intensity of it. Intensity, yeah. And then I can do the interactive render to see. You can see the light is beginning to come out there. And Corona Render also have a couple of kind of LUTs that you can change, so if you click on this button here, this is almost like a post render options. So you can basically click on the LUTs, and then you click on this arrow here, and you can change to different LUTs. You can see immediately our scene begins to kind of have some post render effect to it. Okay, you can see that. So to kind of see this light, properly, I also think that there were some light from Revit that was still there. Let's see. Yeah, there was some lighting from Revit that were still there. I just want to delete them. I really don't want to have light coming from Revit. Okay, it's fine. Okay, great. I'm going to switch on the corona light, sunlight, but I'm going to bring it down to almost have like a sunset. And this is only because I want us to see the effects of the artificial light that we've brought in. Okay, so that is a bit clear. Okay, so I'm going to select that, and I can change the color of it either through Kelvin temperature. So if I kind of change that, you can see that it begins to change how warm it is there. Or I could change it through direct input of color. Okay, so if I choose that, I can just change the color myself. and this give you different colors there. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to press shift and copy this light instant. I'll rotate the light. Remember, I showed you how to rotate, and this is one of the reasons why, because you might need it to rotate a light or something. Okay, so the last thing that I will show you, the last thing that we're going to have a look at is to basically kind of add some grass to our scene. And then in our next tutorials, which will be the final one for this render, is that we will have a look at how to bring in like trees and other kind of elements into our render. And then we'll also touch up on the materials a little bit. And remember, these are just basic. This is basic introduction to 3ds Max and Corona, just to kind of give you, a starting point, and not to be intimidated by the softwares. Okay, so let me cancel that. I'm just going to create another light. Okay, so to add a grass, normally what I do, which I think is quite helpful, is that just go to the Google and check Forestpack. And Forestpack is quite a nice software. Let's have a look. Forestpack. I'm not sure whether they still have the Forestpack Lite. They probably still do. If you go to download Forestpack, yeah, they still have the Forestpack Lite. But even this Pro version for 230 euros for a year, I think it's quite good if you are using visualization for a commercial purpose. And also the Lite allows you to kind of use a couple of things for free. You can see it's there. Download it and try it. Okay, so I am going to click on Forestpack, and I'll close that. And then I'll go to library and I'll say select. And then you can see I've got the Pro version, so I've got all the libraries there. And I think the first 6 here are free if you use the Forestpack Lite. So let's use one of them. And then I'll click and choose Corona as my type of material, and I'll say load. And I'll click on the grass and I'll say yes. Rescale, okay, okay. And immediately I've got my grass. Very, very, very simple. You can add some rocks and other things in there, and maybe in our next tutorials or other tutorials we'll go in depth of how to add or use Forestpack in different ways. Okay. And you can see that it's showing us the light, kind of the shape of the light, and you can hide it. So we can switch that off, so that if you don't want to see that, we just want to see the room illuminated, we can do that. So let's have a look. So if I go to the top view and then I click on, I'm just going to click on the Forestpack and I'll right click and I'll say hide selection, just to hide that for now. And I'll click on the light, go to the modify tab, and I will say here it's visible directly. So I'll uncheck that. And then also invisible in reflections, depending on how you want to kind of see your render image. Okay. And the beautiful thing about Corona, the last thing that I want us to have a look before we end this tutorial, is that if I go to rendering and I go to render setup, I can basically go to scene and say setup light mix. So if I click on setup light mix and I say I want them to be individual, so each light you can control each light by itself, and you say generate. Now we're going to see magic. So this is beautiful. So now if I click on render, we allow the image to render a bit. For me, I think this is really, really interesting. Actually, let's stop that quickly. I just want to make it not visible in the reflections. This light, I mean this big one here, because I just don't like the way it's showing there. Okay, now it's gone, but the light is still there. Okay, so let's right click on our skin and on our scene and say on hide all, so that we can get our grass back. Surrender. So yes, this is really just a basic introduction. We will have a look at maybe an image that I've rendered in Corona, and we will take step by step how the image was created, how the image was composed, how the lighting was created, to give you an in-depth understanding of the software. But I think these tutorials can actually also help you get started. Okay, so now we did the light mix. If I go to light mix now, you can see here I have lights. You can see even my environment, I can switch it off. I can switch off the lights that are inside. I can switch off this light as well. I can switch off the big light. I can switch off Corona Sun. This is really nice. I can increase the intensity of it. So I know this is the light. I can say, let's say for example 2. increase that. So you can basically, you can see, and you can change the color of it. You can reset all of them to 1. You can reset all of them to white to almost start again. This is really really nice. You can easily turn a daylight scene to a night scene by just working your way around with the light mix. I hope you enjoyed these tutorials. I'm looking forward to creating a more in-depth tutorial with 3DSMAX and Corona. And yes, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again in our next tutorials. And thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching the tutorials, and see you on our last tutorials for this series, where we will start to add our vegetation. We'll basically add a little bit of life to this scene. Yes, and compose this image quite nicely. See you again. Bye.